Good evening. Welcome back to the Celtic Way. Celtic versus Young Boys full-time reaction. Celtic 1, Young Boys 0. Are we giving it to Adam Ida, Ryan? Are we giving it to Adam Ida?
I don't really care who it went to be honest, Tony. That's one of those. What a wild game. A game that had absolutely everything in it, from red cards to disallowed goals to more disallowed goals to more disallowed goals to an own goal to great saves, great double saves by 38-year-old goalkeepers. It was a game that had absolutely everything in it, Tony. But the most important thing is that Celtic got more goals than Young Boys. 12 points through to the playoff round. Doesn't matter how you do it, it's all about winning that game and winning that contest. I've got to say, with about 5-10 minutes to go, I was doubting if it was actually going to come. There's the police sirens on behind me. They're going away. I think the away fans are heading home. Very disappointed with the fact that their team didn't take away a point, especially given their defending and their overall better play in the second half. But Celtic got the job done. The one bit of quality in the game, the one bit of onside quality, Rio Hatate to Adam Ida. Adam Ida plays, the ball gets played through to Adam Ida. Ida then, is a good striker. He runs forward, forces the keeper into a save, and then it's a deflection to the back of the net by Benito. Doesn't matter how they go in. It went in the back of the net, and it was onside. And then I think everybody let out a sigh of relief.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, I'm Tony Haggerty, at Haggerty2 on the Twitter handle, and I'm joined by Ryan McGinley at the Ryan McGinley on the Twitter handle, who's outside Park here just now with sirens blaring, people probably storming the podcast as we move along. But who cares? Welcome, everybody. Glorious night for Celtic. First time they've qualified for the playoff round or a knockout phase of the Champions League in 13 years, since 2012-13. So wonderful. Adam Ida's goal deflected in by Young Boys skipper Benito 85 minutes after Celtic had scored 3 times in the first half. Ruled out, every one of them ruled out. Kyogo Furuhashi's efforts all ruled out, and Arnie Inglis had missed a penalty as well. There was even time for Daizen Maeda to get sent off for a silly kick out in the closing stages. And Kasper Schmeichel with a superb double save on the day announces his contract renewal to the summer of 2026. So excellent. Just it was all about the result, Ryan. It should have been more comfortable. It wasn't. But I guess that typifies Celtic in Europe. And if anybody deserved a break in front of goal, I think you'll find it's Adam Ida, is it not?
Right place at the right time, Tony, to make that run into the box. Yeah. And he forces a save, and then it turned. The chance then goes to the gods, and the gods were favourable on the striker there. It's almost as if, right, you've been through a bit of a hard time at the moment. 12, 13 games without a goal. It won't be your goal, because the dubious goal panel will not give that to Adam Ida, and quite rightly, because it just gets put in the back of the net by Benito. It does not matter one bit, because he still manages to celebrate it like his own goal. I know it was an own goal, but he celebrated it like it was his own goal, with the knee slide. And do you know what? He was in there, and that goal doesn't happen without the intervention by Adam Ida, because he leads the line well. He makes the run. It's a tremendous ball from Rio Hatate. I was saying, from where I was sitting, I was saying Hatate's got to come off. He's blowing, he's blowing out of steam here. But there's this amazing thing that Hatate does in these games, and there's a reason why he is kept on the pitch. Because he can suddenly, in the last 10, 15 minutes of a game, suddenly get that second wind. And you've got to keep that quality on the park when it's available. Luckily for Celtic, he came up trumps. Great saves from Kasper Schmeichel, then followed by a tremendous bit of quality from Hatate to play that ball through. It's a striker's dream, that ball, because he's running right onto it.
Ryan, he's come on, and the instructions will have been, go and be a hero, go and net the winner. It's his biggest moment of his Celtic career. The goal will be probably taken away from him. That's fine, but he doesn't make that run. Hatate doesn't spot that run. It doesn't happen. So he deserves a bit of luck, and you create your own luck. Just going to flick this up. Mr. Celtic donates $4.99. Thanks very much. Rio Hatate, amazing performance. He needs to get more flowers from the fans. He's a Champions League match winner. You've just said it there as well. And my friend Peter Murphy coming on saying Anthony Haggerty, like cigarettes and alcohol, Celtic should carry a health warning. Indeed, they are not good for the Gary Dicker, are they, Ryan? They put you through the mill, don't they? As they say, that's ticker to you and I before anybody asks what I'm talking about, rhyming slang for the tick of the heart. But they put us through it tonight, Ryan, but they got the job done in the end. It's just a wonderful feeling to be in that playoff round. Doesn't matter who we get. Still got Aston Villa to play. They can go to Villa and try and see if they can finish with a real flourish, Ryan.
Yeah, that's got to be the aim. It's the pressure is, they've still got pressure on them. They want to finish as high as they can. But in terms of qualification, they've got to where they need to be. They might look back on this campaign and say, maybe we should have been nearer the top 8 given the results against Club Brugge and Dinamo Zagreb. But that's a conversation for another day. The main thing is they got the job done. They were in the trenches in the second half. They made a meal of that game. They really did, because they were all over young boys in the first half. So many shots. I completely forgotten my synopsis to talk about Arne Engels' penalty, which was a pretty dreadful penalty. Yes, it was. It was a pitiful penalty. It doesn't help. The run-up is so bad as well. He does that stutter. I think if you're going to do that stutter, then you've got to score the penalty. He stutters, and then it's effectively a pass back to the goalkeeper, which you expect better from Arne Engels. I'd maybe even expect him to go the opposite way, given that he's went down that side so many times in his Celtic career already. Try and get the goalkeeper to guess, or to maybe make a different move by going a different way. But I actually thought, apart from his penalty miss, I thought he had a really good game.
Do you know what, Ryan? He was playing really well. I think that penalty must have affected him, because the second half he was off the boil a bit, but he was having a cracking game right up until he missed the penalty. I just kind of blotted his own copybook there, I totally agree with it. Lots of comments coming in, Ryan, so I'll flick up a few here, all right? Jackie Dillon saying, brilliant, should have been done and dusted at half-time, though. What a pass from Hatate, and some saves from Schmeichel, amazing. Most certainly well, Jackie, who's one of our members, so thank you for that. Jackie Thomas, John James Moosehead, doesn't matter how we got there, only when we did in other years we went down in flames. So yeah, it doesn't matter how we got there, John James, indeed. Big Ida took that crisp pass well, held off his man, nearly found the corner. Keeper was possessed. That's Keller he's talking about, Christie. I think you're right. Jazz CFC, Ida just paid back the 9 million. Yes, indeed. Alan Hughes saying they're shattered, but job done. Charlie McGarvey, we've had enough gallant defeats, we're due a scrappy victory. I think you're right there. And Miles is saying, brilliant run from Ida, chuff for the big man. Hope he goes in a run now. I think that's what he's needed, to be honest. Rio's best game in a Celtic jersey. He's so much fitter this season. And as for Big Casper Waterman, recently did a great double save. Francis Lester just sort of say, just get in. His heart can't take that, Ryan. Job done. Plenty of money coming in as well to improve the squad. He was disappointed with Engels with that stutter. Carry on for the penalty.
Francis must live in Kerrydale Street, honestly, because if he's just in, the amount of cars that are still around here, the away fans went home. He must live very close to Celtic Park. Either that or he was watching it at a pub or something, but delighted to see so many of our regular contributors join us on this. We know that we have a lot of choice for post-match content, so thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. I'm here just at the Velodrome, just outside Celtic Park. You can kind of see Celtic Park just to the right of me. It's really just job done.
I can tell everybody wants to talk about it, Ryan. There are 779 people joining us tonight. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah. We are just delighted that Celtic managed to get a bit of luck. They were excellent in the first half, tapered off in the second, but I don't care. The bottom line was the result. By any means necessary, Ryan, and I think that was by any means necessary. A fortuitous own goal. We don't care, do we? It doesn't matter.
I don't want to talk about other teams too much, but when I've watched European games in the past, I have seen goals like that happen for other teams in Europe, and you see Celtics concede goals like that all the time in Europe. You think back to Chaduri's own goal. You think of Cameron Carter-Vickers this season as well. Vindication tonight, because I thought between him and Austin Trusty, the two of them cannot be dropped anymore. I don't think Carter Vickers will be dropped. Trusty and Carter Vickers, what a great partnership. They won absolutely everything in the air. That's the first thing that stood out tonight, was the size, the sheer physicality of young boys. They're only young boys in name because they're big men all over the park. They've got massive defenders, massive attackers. Trusty and Carter Vickers stood up to the challenge. If anything, I thought it was the fullbacks that had really disappointing games, especially, and I've got to be frank, and you've got to call a spade a spade. I think that was one of Alisson Johnston's worst games in a Celtic jersey tonight. He was all over the place with his passing. Some real questionable passes into dangerous areas and putting these midfielders into all sorts of problems. It's something that he maybe needs to look at going forward. He's been a bit shaky recently, but that's the only negative, the only blot in the copybook, I would say. Between that and Daizen Maeda, it remains to be seen how long he'll be out for. If they'll deem that as violent conduct and he's out for 3 games, that could be his last contribution in Europe this season, potentially, but hopefully that isn't the case.
It's the learning for me, Ryan. Celtic would have lost that game in the past, or they wouldn't have got the result that was required, or they put themselves up against it and behind the 8 ball, going to Villa Park. That's what's been the most encouraging for me during this campaign. They won 3, drawn 3, and lost 1. Now, can you go to Villa Park and win? And that would be half your campaign you've won. And nobody would have given Celtic a chance of doing that before the campaign started. So that's your next goal. That's your next goal post that you move. And you say, go and finish with a flourish. Go and finish a campaign at Battle of Britain against Villa. Welsh Paul, it was a gargantuan win, Tony. It was a gargantuan win. Quoting my good self, who said that this match was gargantuan, Ryan, and it's proven to be. And delighted for everybody, delighted for the manager, delighted for the players, and delighted for all the Celtic supporters. The crowd were brilliant tonight, Ryan. I thought they kept with them, didn't they? Even when Schmeichel was making the saves, they were celebrated like a goal. Just wonderful. Everybody on singing from the same hymn sheet in unison, and everybody got their reward as late as it was.
Yeah, in the last 10 minutes, there was a real sort of injection of passion from the crowd. Almost as if, this team need to be cheered over the line. It was nothing each at that point. There needed to be a little bit of an injection of passion and noise, and everybody, it resonated with the players because the players got a lift off of it. It wasn't the balance. There was a couple of moments where maybe young boys would be quite disappointed that they didn't get something from the game. Maybe they're disappointed they didn't get all 3 points, given that double save that Kasper Schmeichel had to make. Celtic in the second half did make a meal of it completely, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, their performance in the first half was vindicated with that goal at the end. Luck. It was a bit of luck, a bit of fortune, but they deserved it because they were unlucky in the first half. They put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, and yet it was given offside 2 times and 1 for a foul, which at the time, I wasn't going off my head or anything like that because I knew it was going to be given as a foul, just the way that Callum McGregor had went in. It was kind of similar to Lagerbielke with Cyril Dessers in terms of going back. And I was like, even if Celtic score here, I think we've got to wait until the VAR check. And I was quite right in not celebrating or writing that I was celebrating because it wasn't given as a goal. But thankfully they got there in the end, and just delighted that they managed to get it. It's more relief than joy at this point, Tony, because
for me,
they put it through the ringer.
For me, it's joy. I wasn't relieved. I was just joyous. Charles Coker, member for 3 months. Can we acknowledge how beautiful Cal's skills were? Callum McGregor, outstanding tonight.
He sometimes likes to remind us, doesn't he? He likes to remind us that he's got that in his locker.
101st appearance in Europe it was, Ryan. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, I'll have to say. And just 922 people, Ryan. Brown Warrior coming in and saying, can go to Villa with the shackles off and go for it. I think that's exactly what we'll do. And Anthony Brogan coming in and saying, thanks for all your content, guys. Wonderful night. A win's a win. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. People just want to have their say, Ryan. As I say, 925 people joining us. It's brilliant. Welcome aboard, guys. Young Ryan there outside Celtic Park. You can see it shining like a beacon just behind his shoulder there. Marvellous stuff. But loved it, Ryan. I thought Celtic played really, really well the first half. Yep, it tapered off, but if you were watching on TV, Joe Hart kept saying Celtic are going to stick to the process. They will have a moment, and it's Champions League football. You're going to be under pressure regardless of the opposition. And young boys did come into it, but he was talking about the concentration of Schmeichel when his moments arrived as well. And then he was talking about the goal when the manager spoke about the goal right after it. He said that he was delighted with the fact that 85 minutes and the ball was taken from the goalkeeper and walked down the channel, walked down the side, and then Rio Hatate's ball's absolutely sublime. And Adam Vida kind of does the rest via the young boys goalkeeper and their captain. But yeah, I think that's worth celebrating tonight, Ryan. Chris is saying he's celebrating tonight. And JD88, I'll address this again. Tony on the whiskey for the hoops. Tony's a teetotaler, so I'm just naturally joyous and happy. So yeah, lots of people always say, "Is Tony had a Swifty?" Ryan, you know me. I don't drink. Tell these people. Yeah, tell these people I'm a teetotaler.
Tony.
Correct. I'm just high in the fact that Celtic have got a result, and you say it's passion, and I just love what we're doing. And nights like this, you love it even more, don't you?
Absolutely, and I like that Celtic had to grind for it at the end as well. Obviously I didn't like the situation that they were in with Maeda being sent off. Suddenly they're down to 10 men. Young thought that they could get back in the game with that man advantage at the end. They're trying to hoof the ball into the box, and there was a real moment at the end that I thought, right, they might actually get something here. You're getting into injury time and you're allowing a ball to go in the box inexplicably. You block the first ball from allowing it. I know that you trust Austin Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers to header it out, and Liam Scales to header it out, but don't even allow the ball to go in the box and allow that eventuality to happen. But to a man, I thought the defence and the defensive work, especially Austin Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers, I thought they were absolutely immense.
Yeah.
Right? Especially Trusty, because there was a couple of moments where there could be real pressure on the two of them. But Trusty's headers, and they're nicely weighted headers into the midfield, and it allowed Celtic to go forward between that and headers with his fullbacks. He really did calm the game down. And when he's calm and when Cameron Carter-Vickers are calm, that then resonates around the whole team, and they can be calm and free-flowing in their football because they know that they've got that safety net behind them. So I thought the two of them were absolutely immense. I gave them both 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's a quick spoiler. I gave them both 9 out of 10. I thought they were that good at the back. I was saying before Celtic scored, and I was writing my ratings to the people next to me saying it's a terrible look because Celtic had so many chances, and yet I'm giving the highest rating to Celtic's defenders. But they were important, and they were even more important at the end because they kept it to 1-0. They had a job to do. They had to play lockdown defence, and they did. They locked it down, and they got the 3 points, which was the most important thing.
Correct. I have to read this out, Ryan. Stubboy67, rip roaring, teetotaling, never boring. He's actually hanging it. Quite like that, Stubboy. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind. Appreciate that. Can always be self-deprecatory and take the mic out yourself. We like it. Tony celebrated with a string brew. He's saying a strong brew. I think that means Aussie's saying the cup of tea logo there. I think that's meant to be. Yeah, I will do that. A strong brew or an iron brew 1901 or something of that ilk. Other drinks are available. There you go, Ryan. It started already, eh? And we've crashed over the 1,000 barrier, 1,014 people, 15 people watching us, Ryan. Unbelievable numbers, but I guess just everybody's on a high, aren't they? And we thank you for tuning in and joining myself and Ryan, who are absolutely delighted with what they've just witnessed there.
Delighted, yes, but also relieved, to be honest with you. I'm totally relieved because, it would have taken a bit of shine off the European campaign if they didn't get a win tonight, even though they've been picking up valuable draws here and there against Brugge. Maybe less so against Dinamo, because they probably should have beat Dinamo on the night, given how poor they were in their home nation and in their home stadium in Zagreb. But it would have been so disappointing to have 3 draws on the trot after the euphoric highs of that Leipzig game. Delighted that they've got another win, and it really does change the whole. It changes the whole complexion of the group completely. Look at Celtic are on 12 points. They're mixing it with the big boys. They've got more points than Manchester City, for goodness sake. There's not enough is getting made of this European campaign. These are uncharted waters for Celtic to be doing well in Europe.
I also think as well the competition has been given a shot in the arm, Ryan, with the new format.
It's been totally brilliant, Tony.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and because it was getting very formatted, very boring, and very slanted towards the big clubs, you see some of those clubs that are struggling to qualify, and it's just wonderful. It's not as close to the round robin tournament that you got in the old back in my day, growing up, the old European Cup format. Oh, Ryan's left us. He'll be back at some point soon. Here. Oh, you're still here? Okay. Can't see you. All right, we can see you now. Brilliant. Great. He's back in the room. But,
I've just seen some stuff on...
yeah. I just think that...
Sorry to interrupt you. I know there's a bit of a delay there. Just seen some stuff online. No. I don't know if there's reports coming out from French football about potential players on the leaving Celtic. If anybody in the comments can maybe even check Twitter, because I can't. It's a multitasking at this moment. It's on my phone. Oh my goodness! And there you go. It's just came up on my screen that Kyogo's leaving for £10 million to Rennes for £10 million. So that's just came up. Notifications. They always do this. There's always stories that happen while I am.
Where is that from?
It's coming from the Scottish Sun. The Scottish Sun have just tweeted that out as a breaking news story. So it'll be interesting to see how far. And I don't want to put a dampener on the night because I thought he should have had a hat trick on the night tonight. But
should have had a hat trick, yeah.
There's some movement in the background. I don't know if there's any. If it's to be Rennes, I don't know if there'd be any movement in terms of a player coming back the way. I don't know if Jota would be involved in that deal, potentially so. Maybe there's a deal to be done with the two sides with regard to that. Like I said, we're only getting these stories coming through live, so I don't have any time to react to them unless people were to give me further information after reading it. But from that, Tony, just as a bit of a breaking news, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it would put a huge dampener on what's been a wonderful night, but it remains to be seen. But you have to say that if that is the case, then the writing's been on the wall for a wee while with regards to Kyogo leaving. As I say, we need more meat on the bones of this story. The two of us are on live, and you're just reacting to something that's came through in your notifications on your phone. So we shall see, and possibly then they might that might kickstart the Jota rumours again, isn't it?
If that's the case, Tony, then the trigger has got to be pulled now, right now.
Will. If Kyogo's going to go, if Kyogo's going to go to Rennes, then you're going to. It's a natural question to ask about Jota because you're still wanting a winger, aren't you? So we shall see. But
covers both bases. That's the thing. But the Celtic would need another striker if that's the case as well.
Of course, of course. And personal Jesus saying, "You all right there, Tony?" I'm absolutely fine. I'm good. As I say, we're just reacting to something that's came through live. So I don't want anything to put a dampener on tonight, Ryan. Wonderful result. We shall see what transpires when we come off and in the coming days. Obviously, the transfer window is still open. It's coming down to the last week and a half of the transfer window. But as long as I think the manager said himself that even if someone were to come in with a bid for Kyogo, there was contingency plans in place and Celtic were prepared for that eventuality. So we shall see what that eventuality is.
To be honest, Tony, now is the time to sell, unfortunately, because he is he's 30 years old now. Now is the prime time.
If you are going to sell him and you get that kind of money, it'd be very hard to turn down. That's all I'm saying. So, but we shall wait and see what transpires. Ourselves and the 1,080 people that are on live just want to talk about tonight, Ryan, and the fact that Celtic are through to the playoff round of the Champions League. And I'm going to say that again for emphasis. Celtic are through to the playoff round of the Champions League. Doesn't matter how you do it, how you get there, they are there. Fantastic stuff.
Absolutely. And mission accomplished. Objective achieved for Brendan Rodgers, who, he spoke about coming to the club last summer or the summer before and said that there was two things. He needed to maintain the dominance of Celtic as a domestic force, which he's done. He's won 3 trophies out of a possible 4. Not bad going. And also improve Celtic in Europe. Now, it didn't necessarily happen last year. It was difficult last year, although there was some good results and then some really unlucky results. You look at Atletico Madrid, drawing with them when maybe they could have won it, especially in that first half. The Lazio game that they effectively really should have won and ended up losing, thanks to that late that VAR decision, plus giving the ball away late on. Now, thanks to a number of things, thanks to a growing squad, a maturing squad, and the restructuring of the Champions League to allow teams like Celtic more of a chance. Top 4 teams now have a chance. Look at Celtic, look at Brest, look at Dinamo Zagreb up until a couple of games ago, Club Brugge as well. These teams can now thrive in Europe. And see if the big teams are moaning about the fact that the structure has changed. That's a good thing. You want the big teams to be in unrest and angry because that means that the so-called smaller teams are pushing through and really evening up the process. So mission accomplished.
It allows for some kind of Cinderella stories, Ryan, doesn't it? In terms of the Champions League. And that's what we want, because I'm the eternal optimist, the eternal dreamer, the eternal romanticist about football and about my football club. And I'm not saying Celtic will get anywhere near the latter stages, but we're certainly in a good place in terms of getting into the playoff round, and you take who you get in the draw and see what happens. But every club, or most small clubs over the past decade or so, maybe even longer, have felt that it's been slanted against them. And you could pick out arguably the winner of the Champions League every other year up until this year. The usual suspects will be there or thereabouts, but it's not been an easier ride for them in terms of the group section where they play each other home and away. They're playing different teams home and away, and that's the beauty of this. And as I say, it allows for other teams to take centre stage, not your usual suspects.
Tony, I just find it quite funny because the whole reason for the Super League happening was because these teams wanted to play against each other and they wanted more competition in and amongst the European as an alternative.
Yeah.
Now they're all of a sudden getting that competition and the toys are going out of the pram. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Celtic have been beneficiaries of the restructure, as have teams like Brest, teams like Liverpool as well. Liverpool's actually have really have thrived. There's teams that haven't, and that's just the luck of the draw. Look at Leipzig, you look at Young Boys, Bratislava as well. Bratislava had a really torrid time, as well as Young Boys, although Young Boys might get points in the last day against Red Star Belgrade. It remains to be seen. One thing I would say though, and I've got to say the Young Boys fans are a credit to their team because they made noise for the 90 minutes. They were absolutely brilliant. They came in their numbers, they came in their thousands, and by all accounts, there didn't seem to be any trouble after the game either. They went back to where they were staying, and that's just a credit to themselves. It was a dead rubber for them. They've already been eliminated from contention, but they still came in their numbers, and I think they deserve a bit of credit, especially with the noise that they made tonight.
Tell you who else has came in our thousands and their numbers. People want to watch this pod. 1,122 people. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm going to wind it up because I'm going to let that young man go home and take it all in and breathe. But it's just been one of those wonderfully joyous nights. Just a typical Celtic night in Europe. 3 goals disallowed, a missed penalty, a sending off, and a last 5 minutes. OG. You can't beat it, Ryan. Wonderful stuff.
In terms of your Celtic in Europe bingo, I think you would have had House by now, or at least a line of or a row or whatever. In terms of Celtic in Europe bingo, I'd be the bingo caller in that situation. But yeah, it was a wild game, but Celtic came out of it, and they showed their character again. They've shown their character.
They did.
Through, and I think this will springboard them onto better things and really push them in the right direction. I think it'll be that shot in the arm that they've needed for the past few weeks. I think you'll see a real response, not a response, but a continuation of the passion on Saturday against Dundee. If you're Dundee, you're going to Celtic thinking, right, they'll be rejuvenated now. And Celtic are also in the business for revenge after dropping points at Dens Park last time out. The two teams faced each other. All of a sudden, that's quite a tasty game in prospect.
Yeah, indeed. Young man, that's half an hour. I think that's long enough
Was.
fulfilled. You can get yourself home. You're a Celtic supporter. You can get yourself out of there and enjoy your evening. Guys, I hope you enjoyed your evening. It's always a great evening when Celtic win. But I'm going to say this again. Celtic are through to the playoff round of the Champions League. How good does that make you feel, and how proud of you are you of the manager and this team?
Very much so. Yes. Just as simple as that, yes. And just quickly before we finish off, Tony, I just want to bring up this special offer that we've got going on. If you can even bring up the wee thing. I know we didn't bring it up pre-match, but or we didn't bring up the actual graphic pre-match, but it's just in that wee section that we talked about. Perfect. £1 for 6 months. If you go to www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, you will get transfer latest. That's going to be very important over the next week or so, I would presume. Breaking manager and player interviews, such as things from tonight from the players and Brendan Rodgers as well. Match tactics and analysis with stats bomb data from myself. That'll be out tomorrow afternoon, discussing all things Celtic young boys. Scouting reports and player analysis. Again, I would emphasise those two as being particularly important in the coming days and weeks, I would say. Exclusive Celtic interviews and a bespoke ad-free app that is available on the Google Play Store and the Apple iOS Store, App Store. So yeah, get involved, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe and get involved, guys.
Excellent stuff. What the man said, that's what you do. Ryan, thank you. Another stellar contribution. I hope you enjoyed your night actually being there. We've all enjoyed it, haven't we? Just good being a Celtic supporter at this moment. We are living through unprecedented and successful times. Long may they continue. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Over 1,100 people joining us. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate your company. Enjoy your evening. I'm sure you'll find it hard to get the smile off your faces, but hey, when you wake up, you'll be even smiling greater and larger and beaming again tomorrow. Marvellous. Can I whack it?
Celtic playoff round participants. That's all you need to
know. Have a good one. Ryan, take care. Safe journey home. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk about it all over again. Magic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Can't beat it. Thanks, guys.